Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. So to kickstart this session, I want everyone, all the coffee aspirants, to understand there are two types of coffee faces when you experience coffee. One is the back end, which does not have any sort of glamour at all, and the other end, the one which you see today, is the glamorous side of coffee. That is the current cafes, brewing sessions, and how this coffee is getting into a public. And there is another a back end story, uh, which has a darker face, uh, uh, while even if anybody wants to get in this coffee industry. So I am here to explain you how I have shifted my, to be honest, I didn't shift. In fact, I have created another ecosystem wherein which I was trying to create a resilience or sustainability. Uh, so that is the one of the things that I want everyone to understand. So when I have started putting my hands on coffee in the year 2015. I have created a curing facility. Majority of you must know about curing facility, how things works, what are the kind of activity involves in curing facility. I hope that everyone knows that what is the B2B processing of coffee, how coffees are getting exported. But in those days, only uh, we were aware of adding value to coffee is by exporting locally produced coffee across the globe. So even I was having a fair understanding how this international market works. We were having a lot of association with Europe and Middle East. uh, See, I want to tell you that what is the background that uh, pushed me, or uh, encouraged me to get into this sort of activities. Only because that we have a fair uh, production understanding. My family affair was into coffee production for past 60-70 years now, but nobody had a dare to get into this enterprise coffee activity. But I challenged my gut, and I just started a business activity in the year 2015. And we were processing about 8,000 tons to 8.5 thousand tons of EP coffee and graded coffee, and I used to export it. Export, as in the sense we've been giving it to all other multinationals. But there are a lot of uh, uh, bad things happens in between. And sometimes you must have heard about lobbying and how this B2B market function. And if any new player come in, there are other people around watching you to put you down, things like that. But I wasn't aware of all these things that point in time. But towards the end of 2020 and 2021, I seriously was facing a lot of issues with all the buyers and the improper financial supports. Though we have solid funds, but the funds was not released on time. And these are the kind of challenges a processor faces. But you'll have to understand one fact, that none of these coffee processors will be surviving 25 years in this coffee industry. Not the front end. See, what we see, the cafes, all these are peripherals. It doesn't require lot of turnaround funds or risk involved in this. It's comparatively lesser than operating in the back end. The back end operations are like a lot of challenges, a lot of calculations, a lot of fund involved in this. So all the coffee aspirants who wants to get into this production, as in farming, is one of the vertical of coffee. To begin with, you have to have a farming playground. uh, with that strength, you must get into a processing facility. The processing facility, if you're just processing and selling out, won't do any sort of justice. You have to trade your coffee. So when it comes to trading, then definitely the speculation happens. hedging happens forwards. You must everyone must know about what is a coffee forwarding. Like, if you commit any commitment this month, you'll have to dispatch it in the month of March. So these are the areas where it is getting very sticky and getting very dirty. And I have burned my fingers badly. And I have the reason for that we have investigated, and there are a lot of external factors involved in this. uh, so uh, I wanted to tell you that I was about to fall apart during 2020s, and I have understood that there are a lot of other co-workers and co-players involved in this sort of activities, that so people have to be aware of this other players in this industry and market. But I have created Tara Coffee in the way we are operating right now is not. I have created in a formal way. In fact, I created this sort of a portfolio out of struggle, out of huge distress I was going through, because nobody knows that I'm going to fall apart, and if things are going to crash, then I will be crashing my entire family affair. All these things were there in my mind while I was creating this coffee caravan concept. So I currently, what the position is like, we are having a fair market share in Cochin. If anybody wants to have a good cup of coffee, affordable things like that, they will definitely visit us. There are, in the year 2020, end of 2020, we have launched this coffee caravan, and that point in time the market was completely fresh. I have we have gone through a lot of researches, things like that, and that was the last time I was trying to try my luck. In fact, if that didn't work well, then definitely I would have surrendered myself in this coffee. But actually speaking, coffee saved my life, my existence, my resilience. All these things came into place, and successfully we are moving forward. But the growth is not all that accelerated. It is sort of slow. There are a lot of issues that I need to negotiate, because of these are the kind of life accidents and incidents a coffee entrepreneur has to face throughout. Uh, talking to Talking about Tara Coffee's the current portfolio, I wanted to create an infrastructure where in which people can access my coffee, and also the culture. We didn't have a culture yet, in the sense, in Cochin, the culture uh, only talks about tea, on the go tea, but on the go coffee was not that aware of anybody at that point in time. Uh, so I have taken my efforts to create such sort of a pop-up. You can say it as a kiosk or whatever. It's actually coupled everything in one truck. It's called as a caravan. We named it as a caravan. We got the trademark, things like that. Then successfully we are operating it. So what we use in this caravan is all produced by ourselves. All the coffees, it's a blend, it's a robusta, arabica blends. We have created a strategic combination process. We have small land holdings in Chikmagalur, Hasan, uh, then all the way till Coorg, different parts of Coorg, we have small holdings. So I create the coffee plants which are completely owned by our signature character. So everyone must be knowing about this vegetative propagations, things like that. How we can uh, create a unique character coffee. So even I have invested a lot of time in this, and we have created around 1,000 plants which has got the similar character production wise. So that these sort of character no other plants will be having. So I've been doing a lot of researches on this. So I don't want to get into all this research part, things like that. But again, that is a benchmark that has been set by myself, and that experiment goes on. process wise, different, wet processing is there, fermentation wise. See, these are all we will get into all this part when we talk about this quality and uniquenesses, things like that. But as an entrepreneur, coffee is not that. uh, it has a different phases. It will be having a phase of a disaster. Apparently it will also give you a phase of glamour. Right now I'm sort of enjoying the mixed feeling of having a bad situation which we had before, and right now my existence is all based on the timely. It's all, I would say that it's a God's grace, I would tell you that, because when we fall apart normally, we will not have much of options. Either we surrender, or we might think about some new ideas to come over it. But those time, even I was having this sort of mental pressure. But again, somehow we scraped through. And since 2021 till yesterday or till today, we are operating Tara Coffee's Caravan as usual, and we're getting more people, in fact, and a large volume of Cochin communities are visiting our cafe. It's not a cafe; it's a coffee bar. In fact, just we don't serve anything else, just the coffee varieties, chocolates, and it's a combination. Again, when it comes to the economics and other trade aspect, we'll have to consider a lot of combinations also. But the coffee what we serve is all produced by ourselves, and the traceability part we can make sure that we are doing the best. And internally we are setting a benchmark for ourselves every year. I will be doing a lot of researches to create a unique flavor, and the roasting is done by myself, and the blending is all done by myself. And see, that is not, I would tell you that uh, this is not the ideal way to do it. But again, since I'm just creating the ecosystem to do it, and to uh, I we have to have a team to do this. So creating a good team is another challenging factor when it comes to creating a good brand. I've been observing a lot of brands in Bangalore. I've been observing a lot of brands in North India, and things like that in Middle East, all other places, all over the world. We've been observing all these things. So I would certainly tell you that you have to have a lot of observations when it comes to investing time and money while creating something. You literally need to uh, try your luck. You have to, you'll be fearful first of all. There is no, I mean, you cannot avoid the risk, to be honest. If you wanted to make something successful, definitely you'll have to bear the risk. So this is the quick introduction of Tara Coffee, and uh, where we belong, how we have traveled all the way from uh, a positive, then again negative, then again positive. It's a graphical representation that ups and downs will be there in this entire industry. But you'll have to timely understanding how things are getting pivoted, and also we'll have to reciprocate the same thing to back to the families where we belong. And farming community is something where these people are very sensitive. If something goes wrong, my community will stand against me. So when you become an entrepreneur, when we are taking a risk, definitely we'll have to face all these challenging situations throughout. So this is the quick introduction about the current Tara Coffee's portfolio. I request you to ask me anything if you wanted to understand. There are a lot of videos available online about how we have created all these things. To be honest, I never create any social contents so far, but all the things are getting documented. Well, I will be publishing it sooner or later, because we are getting ourselves into a little more comfortable zone. But right now, I am working on a lot of projects, in fact. So we will be in the plantations, and we'll be farming coffee throughout. and the front end operation is carried out by my brother in Cochin, and he takes care of this brewing operation side. Things are all uh, uh, prospectable. Things are all going very well, but it's all challenging anyways. It's a war basically when you get into this business. Every day will be a new, you will be facing something which is not certain. You'll have to negotiate it. There is no choice for this. If you surrender, then it's gone. Coffee industry is like that. Definitely, everybody wants to know that which side of coffee you want to take up, which is a softer version is there always available. That is, as far as I'm concerned, uh, the cafes are far more comfortable zone than we can put your own prices. When it comes to the back end, you don't have a control over your prices. You must have heard about this OT, outturn business, and forecasting, forwardings. So these are the backends. But again, the multinationals are very much concentrated on the local players as well. Uh, and that is a lobby anyways. I mean, there is no two ways about it. It's a lobbying factor, and we have personally seen how things are working badly. um, but again, survival of the fittest. We are operating right now, we are operating for ourselves, so nobody can intervene in this. But when you operate for somebody else, definitely there are other powerful activities happening outside. uh, they will you will be in the target. Definitely they will do a lot of activities. I mean, it's all case studies, it's all my experience I'm talking about. It shouldn't be, it would not happen to you or anybody else. But definitely once you fall in this coffee, it's very hard to get back into the real life. But again, my good thing is that I got the opportunity to evolve the current business what I am in now. So I mean, I mean, you cannot compress, or you cannot collectively say everything in 1 hour or half an hour time. But it's very interesting thing to understand how this journey is taking you through. We will not doing any other business other than coffee. All the 360 dimensions, whatever happens, like if it's a profit or loss, we'll be doing coffee business only. Just the farming. I am interested in a lot of farming activities as well, and it's very happy to see that a plant comes out, and blooming happens. It's ripening cherries, and the processing factors. All these things are very emotional connections we have. That is how we are pushing through our journey. So anybody wants to ask me anything?
I have a question.
Yeah, tell me. Vinny.
What has been the most, how do I say, satisfying thing that you did or you felt that you did as a company or an individual in the past uh, since you have Tara Coffee?
Binny, I'll tell you what. See, this is like a addictive system. This is like a gambling. Even if you lose, you will make more money, come back into the business, do this job once again, and restart this every process once and all. I'm dedicating my life altogether for these activities, which means you have to sacrifice something or the other to create the system. It doesn't matter whatever happens to you. This is like it's an addictive thing. That coffee is sort of coffee is not just a drink for me. It is like a uh, how would I tell you that? It's a mad thing. So it doesn't matter whatever happens. We will go through all these activities and restart this entire process, even if you fall apart. So every bit of whatever we are doing, I am finding thrill. I am finding excited. I am attracting more people towards my goal, and there I'm making sure that they are also in a win-win situation. uh, our dream is their dream. We have to convert it in that way. So it's a huge process. It's a huge life cycle that we go through. Sabi.
Nice.
I will tell you that this is a gambling, yeah. The way which we do this work is sort of a gambling. If we lose, definitely, the largest exporter from India stopped it. You must know that. They've been doing about 35,000 tons of coffee in a year. Think of it. They have stopped this business because of the coffee international trade. But
Okay.
some people are good enough to overcome these situations. Some people are not.
Uh, um, Sangeeta in the chat has asked, what is the pricing of a cup of coffee at your caravan?
See, we are charging about 45 rupees for 4 ounce, and that coffee is brilliant. It's sort of a bomb for everybody. I definitely will be having a shot every day, and I just love to have black coffees throughout my day, and those coffees are roasted by myself, so we have fair systems to keep ourselves fueled.
Nice. She's also asked,
It's
what do
not,
you pair it with?
we are not as good as you. Definitely, you are qualified in the way you are, but I'm not putting a lot of efforts to create my own unique recipes, things like that. We have a lot of other areas where we need to concentrate. I mean, I
No,
admire
no, no, don't prepare.
people like you, basically. If I'm getting a chance to visit you, things like that, definitely, because I'm not qualified in that way. We have to gain more qualification when it comes to quality checking, the Q grading, things like that. I don't have any of these traits yet, but I can manage myself. I can make a different flavor for anybody, and I don't know how things happening, but again, it's turning out very good for me.
That's what makes sense. Okay, so Sangeeta has also asked two more questions. She has asked, what do you pair the coffee with? Do you serve any food at all with that coffee? And like bakes or fries?
We have croissants. We do have donuts, some cookies, some biscuits, peanut cookies, things like that. These are the three items in the solid form. Rest all is all beverage. Uh, we have a footfall of somewhere around 700 to 800 cups a day.
That is crazy.
So,
Raj has also asked in the chat, can you explain the business model of Caravan Coffee?
Okay, yeah, Raj, I can see that. See, I'll tell you, this coffee caravan model, I seriously have not a planned business. In fact, I just wanted to have a survival because I was on the verge of crashing my earlier business. So I wanted to create something that I wanted to stick on to, or I wanted to hold. So we have created all this brewing setup in a force truck, and we got the license to do it. But you have to understand one fact, that in Kerala it's very hard to get these sort of license, and running a business is it's a nightmare. But again, when it comes to, we have um, there is a order from central. It's called as one product one district or something like that, ODOP. So we represent our coffee culture from Wayanad to other parts where they don't have this sort of facility. So they didn't have a choice. But again, this jealousy part, when you do a good business, others sees that they don't have a good business. They'll keep a proper backstrapping kind of thing happens all around. So again, these are the uh, and I mean, I would say these are part and parcel of this business, but you'll have to deal with it. And what do you compare the pros and cons of stationary caravan? See, I'll tell you, every day we travel, it's a well graphical designed caravan kind of a setup. I have seen a couple of things in see, some people have uh, tried it, but the problem, it's again, you have to invest a lot to create these sort of models. Um, but to an extent, my interest was to, or my objective was to sell my unique coffee through a great medium. See, I'll tell you what, if you are consuming uh, Glenfiddich in a disposable cup, that feel will not be there. You get the point. It's a Scotch whiskey you're consuming in a very disposable glass. It doesn't have any good feeling. So you have to present your coffee in a great medium, great cup. Then it feels great. So I always believe that presentation is very great. A presentation is very much needed, even if you're serving something good or bad. So I wanted to promote my coffee in a comparatively sensible manner through a great medium. So I have created a graphical representation of coffee in the entire truck, and we brew coffee instantly right in front of everyone, and that is how we do it. So it's all transparent. It's all transparent. Everybody can see this. So end of 2020, we have launched it. That point in time, this system was not there at all. If I checked all over the India, there was no coffee vans exclusively available. Food trucks were there before, but this kind of exclusive setup was not there. So I was pretty confident that my coffee will go well. Just that, we have to have some baristas, things like that. So I have converted my brother. I have persuaded him. I taught him how to do this kind of a business. So he been supporting me since then. Yeah. Does this location kiosk cafe matters a lot? Will you sell the same number of cups? See, every day what happens, in Cochin, the system, I'll tell you how things happen. Okay, in 2021, we didn't have much of cafes all around. Since then, what happened? Every month, a new cafes is getting opened. So our customers will go everywhere, and they will be consuming coffee all around, and they'll come back to us and say that, I am not getting that sort of a satisfaction there, here, things like that. So the business what we are getting is all 80% retention, 80-85%, all the, because if we are not getting a share, the Instagram share in a day, which means all the customers are regular. But if we are getting a share in Instagram um, in a day, which means, that person is a new person. So uh, what did you say? Which coffee machine do you use? It's a class 5 Branchilo machine and Anfim grinder. We also have multiple Lamazako we have. But I'll tell you what, in this coffee caravan, the availability of electricity is not that well. So it's a standalone setup where in which we use generators to power it up. So Rancilo's machines will be consuming somewhere around 3,000 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt capacity. So a generator is sufficient enough. So it is a very viable machine. We've been refusing it for ages now, and by looking at it, and even the supplier is actually referring our way of operating and selling this machine all around. They have personally visited us. Are you making money in caravan business? Yes, we are making a sales of more than 11-12 lakhs in a month. In your caravan cafe, what is the ratio of age group customers aspect? All the ages. We respect seniors. In fact, uh, all the kind of people visit us every day. Uh, it doesn't matter, youngsters or seniors. We would love to serve the seniors, in fact, and they are also feeling pretty happy visiting us. If they select our coffee, which means we are halfway through. According to me, takeaway coffee could be a big thing, provided the price point has to be very attractive. Given the fact Caravan does not have killing rentals, yeah, we are paying somewhere around 35,000 a month as rentals. Yes, we do have rentals, and one of the worst thing that we uh, incur is the generator fuel. Every day we have to spend around 1,800 rupees petrol, and still we are surviving, which means it's a larger It's a large quantum of money we have to spend every month for electricity. What would the recommended coffee for filter coffee? See, filter coffee. See, locally we'll be getting this Pradeep's machines all around, so that is good enough to filter your coffee and get the decoction out of it. It is specialty coffee or filter coffee that goes in maximum in comparison. See, we don't sell filter coffee. We don't have a filter coffee system at all. We have a process altogether different from filter, and also we do have the espresso based drinks. So we never sell our coffee in the form of filter coffee uh, tag. We don't have filter coffee at all. We have a different process flow altogether. How often does the caravan change its location? We never change the location at all. Since past all the years, we've been focused only on one particular location throughout. Really sorry, but can we do the question again? Can we do this question again? Something went off, couldn't hear it. What are the pros and cons of stationary caravan? See, I'll tell you, caravan is not stationary. Every day, every night, we start the service by 5:30 in the evening, and it goes all the way till 3:30 in the morning. Sorry, 2:30 in the morning next day. So we work about eight hours a day, and then we travel back to our location. Then our boys replenish the all other stuffs inside that, and next day again they come back. So maintaining this boys and maintaining this travel is bit hectic. So right now we are on the verge of uh, converting this caravan concept. See, I just wanted to introduce my brand to the public. In fact, that has been served. So the purpose of introducing this coffee caravan is all done. See, I'll tell you what. I think Binny wants to say something, and it's not fair from my end to explain or consuming all the time.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I mean, this is a lot of good information.
No, it goes on. It goes on. It's not fair. It's a wow. You have to say something about your thing, and I am very curious to know about it.
Sir, we can take one last question from Raghu, then we can continue with the Vinny, sir.
I know how much is the salary you pay to the employee, and how many shift do you operate? See, Raghu, I have started my boys by paying 14,000 a month, and now it's going all the way up till 25 to 30. And they have experience of nearly 2 to 3 years with us, in fact, and we've been training them. And it's not that they have come fresh and we've been training them. It's not that they have the previous experience, and there are a lot of problem with this previously gained knowledge, and when they try to do the same thing in our space, uh, it is not compatible. So rather we just train them as fresh as good, then they can work accordingly. They're pretty happy. This is the greatest job that ever you can get, barista. Less stressful, glamorous attire, and no work flow pressure, things like that. Just that you have to have some logics. Does the municipality allow you to work late night? I believe Bangalore cafes can't open beyond 11 p.m. Uh, yeah, we do. We have some support from the local corporations and the polices. So we work till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So that is the time probably these people can make themselves free and visit us, and they enjoy it. See, I wanted to kickstart this process in Bangalore, okay, but again, we know each and every corner of Bangalore how things are happening, how things are responding. But again, I wanted to create something. The identity has to happen from Kerala, so that is the reason we started here. You get the point.
Thank you, Ananda, sir. Shall we proceed, Binisa?
Absolutely.
Sure. I have a quick question for everybody who is there on the call. How many of you are looking forward to starting a coffee related business or a venture? Just put it in the chat. Like, what do you plan to do? Do you want to plan to start a cafe? Want to start some other kind of business in coffee? Whatever you feel, just put like the one word that you plan to do in the chat. Like what you plan to do. Let's say Sangeeta, yes. Anita, yes. Raghu, yes. But what is it that you plan to do? Start a cafe. Nice. What else? Please, anybody and everybody who is here, just write that one thing that you feel. Small kiosk, coffee shop, cafe, coffee farm. Nice. Cafe. Very good. Nice. Okay, wait for another 30 seconds to see if most of you did reply, and then I'll get to know what kind of information to share because I was not entirely sure how to start or where to start. Okay, cool. So most of you seems to be like cafe, specialty cafe, very nice. I see one with kiosk, which is also kind of a cafe. Rajesh wants to start something like on the go kiosk. Nice. And there is somebody, Ajish mentioned coffee farm. Okay, cool. So I'll tell you quickly about what I do for you guys to get a context. Of course, there was a beautiful introduction that they already shared. Um, and it made me feel more important than I feel I am. So, anyways, let me start. So basically, I'm somebody from Kerala. Like my parents are from Kerala. I was born and raised in Gujarat. Now, I am married and I stay in Delhi. For the most part of the year, I stay in Delhi. I started my journey in hospitality, so hotel school, and I worked in hotels for a good amount of time, about 8, 9 years. That is where I learned how to basically cook because cooking is something that I really, really like. And then I went on to other things in hotels, mostly into alcohol, especially when I was in the US. And I worked in Europe, US, Middle East with five-star hotels with really premium stuff. Then I always wanted to come back to India, and that's what I did. And when I did, because I am from Gujarat, I did not have alcohol to work with. So I opened the newspaper, I saw a job posting for coffee, I applied, and that's how I got into coffee. Okay, so it was not something that I planned for, but it is something that I got into. But one thing that was common was I love training. Okay, I love education. I love sharing what I know. I love learning more and talking to people and basically trying to be somebody else's stories or success stories or stories in general. So be a tiny part of the story. That is something that I love. Okay, I feel I still am relatively young, and that's the reason I do not have a cafe of my own yet. A lot of people ask me, why don't you start a cafe? I do not have it yet. But I did work in the industry for a good 9, 10 years. I started out working for a company where we were just opening cafes throughout the country, training people. Then I quit that. I did that all India motorcycle journey, and I learned that different parts of country people have different perception and idea about coffee, and that's what fascinated me. And I understood that there's a huge gap in what the consumers know and what we think we know and what the producers know. Okay, and that's how I got more and more into coffee. And then I joined a company, same company that supplies machine to Anandu. So I used to work for coffee machines for a long time. I did that. I sold machines, and I realized I'm not very good at selling. Okay, and I am basically somebody that if somebody would come to me and say, "Can I buy this machine?" I would say, "You don't need this probably," and I would just suggest something else. So I realized I'm not a great business person, but I definitely value where people put money in. Okay. And that's when I got into consulting, and I've been consulting now for 7 years. 7 years? Yeah, 7 years. And I also co-own a barista training academy in Delhi. And I also co-own a company called Zura Craft in Bhopal. Uh, Now I'll tell you what I do. For 8 months in a year, I basically consult people in helping them opening cafes and roasteries. Okay, that is what I do, or that is what kind of makes money for me. This also includes training, it also includes a lot of workshops and everything under it. Okay. So the remaining 2 to 3 months, I work at farms. I work with medium and small size coffee farms. And I basically am post harvest expert. So basically, I like to work with post harvest coffee processing, help with fermentation and different processes that whatever we can do to help the farm actually make more money. So that's the idea. Okay. And that's what I do for the remaining 2 months or so. Okay. Now, after working in both side of the industry, I have realized a lot of things that Anand had mentioned is true. There is lobbying, there is all of those things. That is absolutely true. I'm also not from core coffee industry. I do not belong to that family. So I am still an outsider. I was an outsider. But I've been lucky enough to be working with really amazing people in the industry. And I hope that continues. Now, there are two different things that I want to you all about. One is thinking like a freelancer or thinking like an individual, right? When you're starting your business. And the other side is when you are thinking to opening a business with a partner or with partners, right? The first thing and the most important thing that you have to understand in coffee is we all, we as in you, all of you, me, everybody together, Instagram, social media in general, pop culture, movies, TV shows, everything put together. We have all romanticized the idea of coffee. Okay. Everybody feels that I'll get a little older, open a nice cafe in the hills, I'll enjoy good money, and there'll be a beautiful life. So that is what we all feel. Okay. But at the end of it, it has to be profit and loss. It is a business, and you should really know where you're putting your money, because most of you guys, well, either you have money already that you have earned, or you have money that you've borrowed, or you have money that somebody is probably investing in you, maybe your family, friend, parents, anybody. Putting that money into something is like a big responsibility. So please, please think, plan, and make sure you know what you're trying to get into. You might not know whether it is going to be successful or not. That's a different thing. But please take educated estimates a lot more before you are investing or getting started into a business like this. Okay. When you're starting by yourself, a lot of the times, what I keep saying is don't wait for the perfect idea or the plan. Just start it. Because most of the individuals who want to get into business, you wait for things to happen in a certain way and then we will start and all of those things. It will not happen. If you're an individual, the most difficult thing is to start. So just start. Obviously, do your preliminary uh, checks. Make sure you do your research well enough, but start. Okay. And the second most important thing is um, you have to really make sure that when you're working as a single freelancer or when you're working as a single person sole proprietor, the biggest challenge you will face is that you are your own employee and you are your own boss, which is currently what I am in the zone of, right? I am my own boss and I am my own employee. So I definitely always keep thinking that my boss is an idiot because he has tremendous foolish deadlines. And I also feel that my employee is lazy because he's not meeting those deadlines. But in both the ends, that person is me, right? So the most important thing, if you're working as a sole proprietor or an individual freelancer, is that you have to, no matter what, be self motivated, because you only you can self check yourself. Okay, and that is the most important quality. If you do not have this quality, I would say either think of getting other people involved, or join somebody and take time to understand if that is something that you would really want to get into, because getting into that loop is very important. And as Anand mentioned, there'll be a lot of challenges every day. There is a new challenge, and if you are somebody who is going to put things out for later and not take a lot of actions and not very good at working by your own self, then probably it is not a good idea to start at all. Okay, I'm just going to be very honest about it. No flowery words, because I've seen enough businesses fail purely out of this. Okay. Now, and if you are getting into partnership, keep in mind two, three things. One, make sure your partners are complementing and they are not on the same uh, subject matter expertise that you are, right? Because if all the partners, or let's say there are two partners, both of them have expertise in the same section or ideas or thought process, then there'll be a lot more friction. But if you have a partner who is complementing, let's say, for example, I have a partner who's great at marketing or business sales, and I'm not good at it, but I'm good at product and training, then it is a lot better match. Okay, so be careful who and why you're partnering with somebody. Okay. Third, if you're working as a freelance, the easier thing is you don't really have to set up anything. You can just start working. You don't need any company setup unless you cross like a 15 lakh or a 20 lakh revenue per year. Okay. And if you have a good CA, he can help you with a lot of things. And you don't really have to do anything. As a freelancer, you can still work purely based on your PAN card. But if you have a partner and if you're getting into partnership, make sure you have everything written down, right from why you are partnering, what are you going to get out of it, and most importantly, your exit clause. Okay, do not mix emotions, do not mix relationship with business. Okay, all learning the hard way. Okay, uh, and regardless, another important thing is you really need to invest in yourself. Okay, if you're an individual, definitely invest in yourself to increase your credibility. Now, this is something very in lines with what Anand had mentioned. The first year that I started working with farms and I was doing post-harvest processing, I remember we did some interesting processes and we were putting on social media and Instagram. And I got a call from a couple of big farms saying that, hey, you cannot call this process like this, you cannot do this like this. And it was kind of threatening, right? And threatening to me is still okay, but to the farms that I work with, that is something that I did not really want it to be that. That is the reason. Then I invested in myself, got myself certified. And that is purely the reason I got myself certified, so that when I now work with farms, nobody can come and say that, hey, why are you working? He doesn't know anything. You do. So if you're working as an individual, either with experience, either with what you're doing, or purely by certifications, get credibility. Okay. That is super important, because in India, somehow we still value a lot of, I don't know, certificates. So I'm not saying it's good or not, but people do value a lot more when you have a certificate. It is something that you might work with, especially if you're working as an individual. And if you work with a partner, make sure that the focus is on the company. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot more things as an individual, as another partnership that you need to take care of, um, which I will share later on as a part of PDF document. Pratiksha will share in the group with all of you. But a couple of interesting and important noteworthy things. Okay. When you start a cafe, especially when you start a cafe, one of the most simplest and the most easy to overlook is how you build your capex, which is basically your capital expenditure. Most people think, okay, fine, I have a beautiful cafe. I have spent so many money in the ambience, in the infrastructure, in making it look nice. The interior is crazy. And then you go ahead and buy the most expensive machine that you can find in the market, everything. And then you are like, okay, fine, tomorrow or the next month the cafe opens and I'll make money and then I'll put it back. You will have to have a minimum of 6 months operational working capital as part of your capital expenditure, so that even if for 6 months, if you don't make a single money, you should be able to keep that cafe running without any compromises. Of course, if it doesn't work in that 6 months, you already know that there's something that's not right, right? There's a lot of things, right? The location, the product, what kind of menu, who are you catering to? An important, or I would say the most important thing is to understand what product. When I say product in cafe, it is going to be what is your menu, and second most important thing is like who are you going to target it to? Okay, this two is like the most important part when you start to plan about cafe. And the third part is like, why do you want to run a cafe? If you can answer that, and you don't have to answer here, you don't have to answer to me, answer anybody. If you can answer that to your own self, why do you actually want to open a cafe? And be as honest and as rude and as crude as possible. I want to open it because I really want to make a difference. I really want to open it because I want to be the cool person. I want to open it because I have money and I want to invest it. It could be anything, right? But you need to be honest with yourself why you want to open that cafe, what kind of product you want to give, and who your target customers or consumers are. If you're able to crack these three, everything else then trickles together in a lot more organized way, right? As a consultant, I think I've consulted more than 35, 40 specialty cafes. Like Anandu had made a beautiful cafe. I visited it in the caravan setup. Um, I built a cafe on top of a motorcycle, okay, in Gurgaon, and I did that for a friend of mine who runs a company called a Strip Machine Coffee. Then I mean, there are a lot of interesting projects that I've done. Okay, I've done a project which is in Ooty, which is merely a kiosk. It's 3 by 5 feet. Okay, and the reason I was interested in this project is like he called me and said, "Hey, I need help opening this cafe," and I'm like, "I don't have time." And then he said, "I want to um, open a cafe because my dad wanted to have a place in Ooty that could serve cappuccino for $50." And I thought that the idea was so cool. And then we made time and did it. There was this client in Hyderabad. She had called me, said, I want to open a cafe. Can you help us? Again, I was busy, and I was like, I could not really say yes at that point. But then she said, but we want to open a cafe with 100% Robusta or Canafora. And that was like, oh, this is interesting. Let's do it. So most of the cafes or projects in terms of coffee that I've done has been something like this. It has been out of the most of the time out of the regular. There are also a lot of regular cafes that I've helped open. But my most important thing is you have to be clear about your thought why you want to open a cafe. And oftentimes, before I even take up a project, I kind of have a lot of discussions, sometimes even fights with the clients to get to that point. Why does one want to open the cafe? Because if you are clear about it, everything around it becomes a little more clear. Okay. And that is the most important part. Okay. And same thing when you go with farms, right? At farms, the challenging part is everything to do with coffee is volatile. As Anand had mentioned, a lot of things are not in your control. In fact, even after doing 2 levels of processing and like spending so much money and scholarship in doing that, there is not a lot of researched exact science to a lot of things. We are still in the process of finding out what can happen, what will happen. They're all estimated guesses. And on top of it, the challenge is the consumer sometimes is more knowledgeable than the supplier, which makes it challenging because every time something happens in the market, the consumer is like, hey, we want our coffees to be like this. And the farmer then tries to do that. And then by the time he or she tries to do something about the coffee and tries to produce something, what the consumer said the previous year, the next year the consumer is like, oh, we don't need that anymore. Now we need like this. This is like a very, very tiny part of it. There are like 10,000 other challenges when it comes to farming. And farming is a 13-month job. In a 12-month year, farming is a 13-month job where you constantly have to spend money, put investments, take care of your plants in every time of the year. Whereas what we see on social media is only the harvest season. We see on social media is just the red fruits hanging on the tree. Same thing goes in the cafe. What we see on social media and Instagram is like a beautiful espresso dropping down. What we see, what you see on social media is not true. Okay, most of my business comes from social media. I am somebody who is very much out there on social media. Most of it is not true. We only show things that we want people to see. Okay, so there are a lot of things that is behind the social media, which is extremely challenging and difficult. Okay, so whether you're starting a business by yourself or with a partner or with anybody else, make sure that person, even if you're hiring a consultant, hiring a consultant is sometimes say, why do you need a consultant? You need correct. You need a you know everything. A consultant probably like somebody asked me why would I need like I like don't take me, don't hire me. I like whatever you want. But imagine a good consultant would have done so many mistakes with so many clients. So what you're learning is what not to do. That which is so much more important, and you can only learn that by mistakes. Even if you are starting something of your mistakes is the best way to learn it. Nobody else will teach you the way mistakes does. Okay. And the idea is how, I mean, if you are clear about what you want to do, like for example, somebody asked in the chat a while ago, pros and cons of normal cafe versus filter coffee unit. First of all, that question does not make sense. What do you mean by normal cafe? There is no definition for normal cafe. But let's say from that question, I assume it is going to be like a regular coffee shop with espresso machine and cappuccino and latte being served, and a different unit where they're only doing filter coffee. There are pros and cons. So very great question from that angle. There's a lot of differences between that. Correct. I understood the same thing. So if you have an espresso machine and if you have like so a lot of things depends on where you are and who are your target consumers. If these two goes more towards people who are able to spend more money and want something that looks premium or more aspirational, then a cafe with an espresso machine makes a lot more sense. But if you are looking at a place where people are price conscious and people are like quality conscious, and you are in a place where the kind of people that you might target will not belong to a strata that can afford 200 to 250 coffee, then filter coffee makes a better decision. The pros and cons also is that with espresso machine you'll have a higher capex, so you have to invest a lot more capital in front. Whereas for South Indian you have lower capex. But the negative part is with lower capex, you have to make a lot more money by increasing your volume. Whereas in espresso machine, even with lesser volume, you'll have a lot more profit margin. So there are pros and cons on everything and in everything as far as you know what you're going to get into. Okay. So with that, I finished my 20 minutes, which I promised. Yeah.
Binny, I wanted to tell you something. Something.
So hi Anandu, what type of company have you registered? Yes, please. Yes,
Uh,
tell me.
yeah, I want to tell you that when you are really an aspirant of coffee, I have a humble
Mhm.
request to you, everybody, that you should not focus on money making. That is the uttermost primary thing that you have to keep in your mind. I don't know how many people will agree to it, but when you look at your economics, what is the ROIs, what is the input amount, what is the output amount? If you're feeling stingy by giving a product, it's very hard to get it succeeded. So money will come to you only after a certain point, that people will understand that you are not focused only on money, but the values and also the quality of the thing. You should not make put yourself in a stingy position, uh, where people will understand that you're going very stingy. When it comes to business, that is very important. Even if you spend a lot of money and open a cafe, and if you act you're stingy, then the fundamentals are going wrong. So that is one of the things that everyone I operate in that way. Your ultimate aim is to money, but don't the priority of money is secondary or tertiary or tertiary. I don't know.
I I do not agree completely to it. I agree with the fact that okay, fine, you should not be stingy, but I am very clear that you should have only if you have money, you'll be able to think about all of the other things. So I feel money is also very important. So it has to be a balance. If you
Priority.
cannot, even with so priority wise, I would say it will be subjective to from people to people. Like for example, you, it is very important that you want to really get into the value side of things, right? For me, also value is important. But I like for example, I don't make money at the farms. Okay, I don't make any money at the farms. I pretty much do it for a very different price. But the reason why I'm able to work at farms is because I make enough money at the cafe end so that I can survive and then be able to give my best to people that actually need my help. So I feel there needs to be a balance, and I absolutely feel even if there's somebody who wants to make money, it's not wrong. It is very personal, but you should make sure it is in accordance with what you feel is your value system in business, in coffee, in everything. There are people like Anand, like you and me. We are very passionate about coffee. So it is very, how do I say, next to our soul that okay, we are very much into it. But for everybody, it could just be business. Like for example, if somebody wants to open a cafe, he or she might not be really much into coffee as value, but he or she might be really good in business. That person will be able to give employment to 5 people, 10 people, and provide service to other people. So I feel it needs to be a balance where your ethos needs to be very clean and clear, and so does money.
That is true. It's all
Yeah,
where you belong, how you have brewed yourself,
correct.
things like that. Yeah. End of the day, it's a business. Definitely, business has to be waived in the economics. But what I'm trying to tell you is that just don't prioritize on money. Is my I mean, people might not digest it, but again, it's just a piece of experience I'm
Yeah,
sharing.
fair enough. Pratiksha has shared a PDF. This is basically like a something that I wrote in the last couple of days that I felt was like some important points, and then you can have it. You can read it. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, it has my email address on it. Can you please brief about supply chain issues in procurement of raw materials? So Raghu has asked this question. When you talk about supply chain, let's say for a cafe, the supply chain would be like procuring your roasted coffee, procuring milk, procuring food items. Most of this um, will be locally sourced except coffee, depending on where you are. Let's say for in Delhi, then it will pretty much depend on where you are going to source your coffees from, whether it is coming from a roaster in Delhi or roaster somewhere else. Most of the time, the biggest supply chain issue is if you have anything that comes from a faraway place, whether it is coffee, whether it is anything special that you require for a cafe, most people fail to understand or to keep in mind the lead time. And that lead time is what is used to put your par stock, which is basically, let's say if I use 1 kilo of coffee every day, 1 kilo gives me roughly about 45, 50 cups of coffee. Let's say if I use 1 kilo of coffee every day and it takes me 10 days for the coffees to reach me, then at any given point, I should at least have 15 kilos with me so that when I place the order in the next 10 days, the coffee reaches to me and I still have 5 kilos left for contingency. Because that is how power stocking, that is how supply chain efficiently works. Okay. Now, this also depends on how much storage space you have, how much money you have. Can you block that amount of money required? Or maybe if the place is close by, you have an alternative, you have a second vendor. So all of this is also dependent on that. But in cafes, at least, a lot of things are locally sourced, unless you have something that is specially procured for your cafe or for something special. Yeah, if that answers the question. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Also, please start your Video cameras too, if you can, if you don't mind, because it looks like you're looking at a lot of circles, and that does not feel great. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Sangeeta has already switched it on. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So can we speak now? Is it
I,
okay?
I think
Do
you
we
can,
have
yeah.
the time? Yeah.
I
So
mean, I have some
from
more time here.
our team, few of us are there. Anita is there. Mr. Reggie is there. So we are opening a cafe in Kormangla in Bangalore, and we are all parents of neurodivergent children. My son is autistic. Anita's daughter is Down syndrome. So we are hoping to create a cafe which employs our children and give them a purpose in life. Already somebody is doing it, like Miti Cafe is doing for across disabilities. They have all sectors of disabled people, like blind, hearing impaired, speech impaired, even neurodivergent. They have started recently. My son right now works for Miti Cafe in Terminal 2 Airport. Even Riza, Anita's daughter, has completed her training with Miti Cafe. But being part of their ecosystem, we found that there were few flaws where they did not really understand what is intellectual disability. As parents, we have to at some point of time be with them and be their advocates. So this is a different model that we are trying to come up with, and hopefully our cafe will move a little more closer to our ideal dream.
Okay. So, first of all, I'll tell you that's an amazing, brilliant idea. We have, so the academy that I partly own, we have a branch in Dwarka in Delhi, which is purely looking at training people in coffee for people with disabilities. Okay. The biggest thing that we've
Are
realized
you
is
are you ready to sponsor somebody? I will send someone right away.
we can, I mean, so we have sponsorship available, so you can apply for it, and every month we try to raise money for it. I mean, the that particular branch run by Logos Transformation does that. Okay. Now there are two things. Training is the not so important part. Okay. The bigger problem is people who already work in cafes. They need to be sensitized because they have no idea about what kind of disability this is. What does intellectual disability means? They have no idea. So they feel disability means there will be something common and they will be there just for show, right? So they don't understand that. So the problem is not these kids who are training. The problem are these guys where they're working because they don't understand it, right? So
Absolutely. That is
that is
where we
why
want
that
to
is why
make a
the
difference.
challenge. Correct. So that is exactly where the challenge is, that closing that loop is very difficult because unless and until you have everything under your control, it is very difficult to make it into a safe zone to work for kids with disabilities, right? And that has been a challenge. Yes. So that is the idea. So what is the question?
Question is, how do we connect with you? Now you have already given us the email. Yes, so we are connecting with you at the earliest.
So you can drop me an email and let's get on a call and see what we can do. I would definitely want to help in ways that I can and probably get in touch with people that could help further. But yeah, I mean, if for example, if that is the kind of cafe that you want to make, obviously a lot of things will then be dependent on the kind of people that will be working, the kind of disability that you will work, because it will be either motor related or it will be intellectual. So based on that, you'll have to decide what kind of work can we do, can we not do, what would be considered hazardous and not. And then you will have to have a way where all of this comes together, and then economically also it makes sense, right? Because at the end of the day, it has to be sustainable, right? That it works by itself, and that is the goal. So yeah, I mean, I do not know exactly how to do it, but I'm willing to get on a call and try and see if I can connect you with people and see if we can make this workable for you.
Thank you very much, both of you, especially Anantu. At one point of time, we were also contemplating the caravan idea. Now you have given a lot of clarity on it. So thank you, both of you. This has been amazing, eye opener, mind opener, lot of business insights from your experience and your willingness to help us out. This has been really great. Thank you very, very much.
Welcome. Yeah.
Sir, we'll take 2 questions in the chat box and we'll finish. We have 10 minutes left. So average price for Arabica plus Robusta blend in the market, let's say 80 plus 20. Sir, your mic is muted.
Yeah, also because I was still thinking. So it can range anywhere between 700, 800 rupees to about 1,600, 1,700 rupees a kilo, depending on what quantity, what grade, who your roaster is, and what kind of coffee you're getting. That is from the coffees that I see is being used by the cafes I work with throughout the country. I'm sure Anandu will also have some more accurate figures on his end.
See, I'll tell you, when we used to operate it, the EP coffee rate was somewhere around 147 rupees was the maximum for the decades. But right now, the EP coffee rate itself has gone all the way till 500 per kg. So you can see the difference, and that has not been diminished yet, and it is going up. Like it's always progressive. And the roasted coffee is somewhere around 1,900 to 2,000 rupees on an average if you wanted to get a really processed nice coffee. But we are not in competition, we are not in the general trade, we don't sell our coffees in the market, we only use our coffee in our outlets. We are not commercial yet.
So the next question is, in cafes, should your coffee beans be consistent? Because when you mix it with flavors, the flavor of coffee will be diluted.
See, it's very
So
yeah, you can
go ahead, good. You take it and then I'll tell.
Understanding about the flavor, see, you can make 1,000 flavors in coffee. It's very complex. Every second, coffee changing its character. It doesn't matter if it's the form of green coffee. It doesn't matter if it's in the form of fruit. It doesn't matter if it's the form of roasted coffee. It absorbs. It's very volatile. It absorbs moisture very quickly. It discharges it. So the taste every second changes. So there is no the proximity is what you can look at it. But I would say that there is no ideal way. You can make sure that it is not fungus, things like that. You can avoid, discard it. Rest all other coffees are good, in fact, if you can process it nicely. Don't want to get into any specialty kind of thing. Whoever it's a general taste profile. Anybody can like it. You can stick to it. It is not like you don't want to create a top-notch nuances, things like that. It doesn't work in that way. It's very complex. Rather wasting time in, Binny can market it a little more.
So in a cafe, should your coffee beans be consistent? Because when you mix it with flavors, the flavor of coffee anyways will be diluted. So the question here, how I understood is that whether the coffee should be consistent, I feel absolutely it should be consistent. So you cannot daily have another variable in your coffee. Like if everything in your coffee keeps changing, then you do not know what you feel is the taste that you are providing to your consumers. Let's say, for example, if I have coffee and if I add hazelnut or caramel or whatever flavor to it, along with milk itself is a flavor, right? Even after adding that milk or mixer or whatever it is, I still get some taste from that coffee, right? And that whatever that some tasted, if I like it and if my consumers like it, the idea is to be as consistent as possible. Only then will they be like, hey, I like the taste of that coffee. They might not understand what is the nuances. They just say this coffee taste is good. Now, whatever that good is. So if a good mark of any good company is that you are consistent as much as possible.
You have to identify which taste suits the customers best, stick to it, and try to replicate the same taste profile for a consistent business.
So hope there are no more questions. Raghu sir, like the meeting will stop. So if any questions, you can mail to us. We last can send back the answers to you.
Thank you, Bridget.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Binny Verghese, founder of Sura and Barista Training Academy, and Mr. Anandu Ninan Villot, founder of Tara Coffee, for the insightful session on Venture Spark Startup Stories webinar series. On behalf of Atal Incubation Center, we sincerely appreciate your expertise and enthusiasm in today's webinar. Your valuable insights have enriched our understanding of the entrepreneurial journey, and we look forward to continued collaboration in the future. A special thanks to all our participants for your active engagement and thoughtful questions. Thank you once again, and we look forward to having you join us in our upcoming sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Sorry for everyone to turn on your video so I can have a quick screenshot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. Binny sir and Amandu sir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.